Kenzy Knoxx and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I decided to paint this nice little festive painting of a house with some Christmas trees, and it's supposed to be a faded out house with some Christmas trees in the foreground. So to begin off with, I used titanium white, sap green, and some Mars black, and I'm using a size 6 filbert brush. So go ahead and get your brush wet and tap off the drips and mix up some sap green and some Mars black. And we're just going to start painting, and some titanium white, and we're just going to start painting this in the background, making it a little bit fuzzy. Nothing specific back here. These will be trees or bushes or something in the sorts. You can spritz down your canvas if it helps you move your paint a little bit better. But we're basically going to outline the shape of a house. And so just paint that greenish black color down the side at an angle and then bring it straight down. So that'll be one side of the house, and then we'll have the other side of the house coming down on the left side. So paint that angle downwards, and then you can create a straight line going straight downwards, and just fill those areas in with this dirty green color, I guess you could call it. We're trying to make this background fuzzy, so you don't have to make straight lines or anything specific. In fact, we want them to be more blurry, less defined, not sharp, but soft, if that makes sense. And then we will go over it at the end with a coat of white, thin white paint, so don't worry about that too much. But go ahead and add some more titanium white, some sap green, and Mars black to your palette. Mix those up, and we're just going to trace in the inside of the house. So the outside, you can imagine, will be covered in snow. And then we're just framing out the house right now. We're mapping it out. So just create a couple of these peaks here, some triangles, if you will. And then make sure that you leave the outside white. And then we can fill in a little bit of the lines of the house that will be darker in color. So it'll be like the edging of the house. And so now we're just going to go ahead and create an outline for a door, and then maybe some windows, but we'll frame in this doorway first. So now we're doing a window on the left side, a window on the right side, about the same height, width as the other window. And then we're going to mix up some more paint. And then just, this is a lighter shade of that black, green, and titanium white shade. And we're just going to fill in the house. So we want this to almost be white, but not white. So go ahead and paint that in lazily. It doesn't have to be neat or anything. Remember, we want the edges to be fuzzy. Everything is supposed to be fuzzy in the background. So the more you go over and be messy with the paint, the better. So go ahead and be messy if you want to be messy. Continue painting in the house until you're satisfied. Make sure you don't go in the windows. And we're just going to paint under the door and bring the house down just a bit. Okay, and then we're just going to add some green to this side because the house is not going to have snow on the side of it. It's just going to be green, so we're just going to paint that in with some green and bring that down a little bit too, although most of this will be covered with a Christmas tree. We're going to add some cadmium orange and some luminous yellow to our palette, as well as some raw umber. So go ahead and add those colors to your palette. Grab some luminous yellow and titanium white, and we're going to start filling in the windows and the doorway as well. So it's as if this doorway is just completely glass. And we will add another coat, so it doesn't have to be neat. Like I said, the messier the better. And we're just going to add a little window up here, and then we're just going to paint in our doorway. Next, we're going to add a shadow to the rooftop, so take some titanium white and some Mars black, and we're just going to add a little bit of darkened snow up here, just where the shadows would be, which is right here on the left side, and then a little bit on the right side. So we're basically going to go along every edge of the painting of the household, but we're going to leave a white, bright white edge there. The highlight of the snow is going to be. So now we're just filling in the edges with that bright white, titanium white color. And remember, it does not need to be perfect. The messier, the better. And then we forgot an edge over here, which we'll just add in real quick. So next we're going to take that rooftop color that we made for the snow and just paint in some gray areas over here, just scattered about, just paint it in messy. These are hidden bushes and trees, and we just need them to be blurry, nothing defined, and just different colors of different shades to stand for different bushes and trees. So just be really messy with this painting. Be as messy as you want. This is the fun part. So next, grabbing our size 6 black brush, we're going to dip into some raw umber and titanium white and create a light brown shade, and we're just going to edge the house with this color. So just quickly outline the border of the house, adding some trim to it. We're also going to outline the side of the house as well as the door, underneath the door, and the staircase as well. So we're going to build a staircase in right here. It's about 4 or 5 steps long. And then we're going to add some posts here that are just placement holders for now. Don't worry too much about this, just add some posts in real quick. These should be quite blurry as well. They're not supposed to be that in focus, but we might make them a little bit in focus. Adding some more trim to the house, we'll just go around this corner right here and down the side. And then we're going to mix up some of that brown with some orange, and we're going to add a little bit of a chimney. So grab some orange, some white, and some raw umber. We're just going to plop in a chimney right there. Taking that brown shade, we're just going to add some trim around this circular window we created above the doorway, and then around the windows again. Just to clean it up a bit, but also to make it sort of fuzzy. So this can be like, it's not a very clean coat of paint, if that makes sense. Next, taking some sap green with some titanium white, we're just going to make a little wreath guy right here on top of the door. I'm going to rinse out our brush real well, add some scarlet red to our palette, and then we're going to mix up that scarlet red with some titanium white and add just a little bit of a bow right here on the wreath. Remember, this does not need to be neat. It's going to be blurry, and it's supposed to be blurry and not very clear on what it is. So next, we're going to clean off our brush, tap into some sap green, some black and some white, and we're just going to mix in some foliage again over here, just make it all messy, furry, blurry, fuzzy, whatever you want to call it. That's the look we're going for. Taking some more sap green, some Mars black, and titanium white, we're going to create that brown shade again for the trim of the house and just messily go over this, making sure that the streaks are not cleaned, but almost as if they're just blending halfway into the snow and into the house, and then, you know, just dragging it across all different lines to create a fuzzy look. See how that was not a clean line? That's the lines we're looking for. And just do this around the windows and the trim and the door. Then I'm going to rinse off our brush, grab some titanium white, and just go over the snow, highlighting around the house again. We're going to make this messy too, so make sure some of it goes over the trim. And then we're going to reload our brush with titanium white and work on the stairs. So just add some white snow above those dark areas that we created. This will be the highlighted areas of the staircase. Then we're going to paint a little path coming towards us, so narrow far away and wider as it comes towards us. Oh, we're going to add some snow to the trim of the house as well. So on top of the windows and the door, and the little circular window above the door, and then the path. Just outline the path a little bit. Then we're going to wash our brush off, grab some titanium white and some luminous yellow, and mix that up, and then we're just going to highlight our windows again. Again, making this messy so that it is not clear, but sort of fuzzy around the windows and the door. And you notice that I went with a more bold shade of that luminous yellow. That's just so it stands out a bit more. Then we're going to rinse off our brush, tap into some raw umber and some titanium white and mix that up, and we're going to go continue with our fence area. Please remember that if you're a beginner painter that you can complete this painting. I have complete faith in you. You just need to maybe slow down this painting or pause it, and YouTube allows you to do that, so make sure you go up to that gear icon on the top right area of the screen, I believe, and you can slow down the pace of the video down to like 1/2 of the speed or even 1/4 of the speed. You can slow it down to as much as you want and even pause the video if need be. But we're going to continue creating our fence until we're satisfied with it, bring it all the way across the canvas. Even though most of it will be covered, we still want it there just in case it shows through the Christmas trees. At this point, we need to dry off our canvas, so go ahead and take a hairdryer and dry off your canvas as needed. We're then going to take a medium-sized mop brush, and we're going to get that wet and wring out all the drips, and then we're going to tap into our titanium white color, and we're going to start spreading that on our background. And remember to keep this in swirly kind of motions, so clockwise, counterclockwise, all over the place. Just make sure it's just not linear, like up and down or side to side. You really don't want these lines to be visible as we're trying to push our background further back. That is the main point of doing this layer of titanium white over our painting. And this is a quite effective way to make a background seem farther away as well. So if you're doing mountainscapes or trying to push a tree line farther back, you can use this method too. And we're going to paint this over our fence as well to push that back a little bit too. Switching over to our size 10 fan brush, we're now going to start creating our Christmas trees, yay, or our holiday trees. So tap into your Mars Black and your sap green and make a dark shade of green, and we're going to start over from the top left hand corner at the very tippity top. So the trees are going to go above the canvas and they're going to come down, and we're just going to aim that downwards. And if you don't have a fan brush, you can use a filbert brush. That's absolutely no problem whatsoever. It's completely up to you, whatever you're comfortable with. But we're going to bring this Christmas tree all the way up from the top to almost all the way down to the bottom, but we're going to stop before we reach the bottom. So we're going to stop right around here. And then we're going to reload up our brush with that black and green, and we're going to do the same exact thing to the other side and create a Christmas tree that goes from all the way up to the top of the canvas to almost all the way down to the bottom. And I'm simply just tapping my fan brush in, just making sure it's fully loaded, or else it'll look like this. So make sure your brush is fully loaded with paint before going in, and then you can fix it easily, obviously. Some people like to draw a line down. I don't recommend dragging your brush down the canvas to make a line. If you do, just tap the line in place using the center of your brush, or else you won't get those clean side strokes on the side of the branches. Once you're done filling in that tree, we're going to move on to another tree. And by center line, when you create a center line, this is exactly what it means. So tap it in just like this. Don't drag down your brush or you'll ruin your the way the bristles are lined up. So we're just going to tap in some foliage now, bringing that down. Again, feel free to use a filbert brush if you need to. There really is no reason you can't use a filbert brush, but I find a fan brush is much more effective and looks much better. I'm going to add another little tree over here. We're just going to tap that in. And we will add snow to this afterwards, so don't you worry. We're going to add another one right here, but I think this one kind of gets lost, so don't worry too much about this one. And once you're satisfied with your trees, go ahead and rinse out your fan brush. And now we're going to switch over to a size 6 fan brush, so a slightly smaller fan brush. You can just use a medium-sized fan brush or a smaller one, but this is allowing us to create more detailed branches from the snow, so the snow-covered branches. And we want some of them to look like they're coming towards us, not all going sideways. So I'll show you how to do that in a moment on the other tree, and then we'll figure out how to bring it back over to the first tree. But the smaller trees you don't really need to worry so much about because they're just so small, and the detail will be small, so don't really worry about that. But go ahead and tap in your tree with titanium white to make the snow, and then we're going to reload our brush really well, and then we're going to start in on the right hand tree. And you notice how I am creating lines of all sorts of different directions, so that will allow it to look like the branches are coming towards us and not just sideways, and that looks like a more realistic Christmas tree or evergreen tree. So then you can go back on your first tree and just reapply the snow in this same sort of pattern. So at this point I need to dry off my canvas, so go ahead and take a break, or you can dry it off with a hair dryer. And so once you're done with that, add some gold to your palette, and we're going to add some garland to our tree. So taking a small little filbert brush, I'm using a size 4, I think it's a miniature size 4, so grab a size 0 or a smaller filbert brush. We're just going to add some fuzzy garland going around the tree, and you can have it swooping down or just going straight across. It's really up to you. This is your Christmas tree. You don't have to use garland. You can use tinsel, or you can just use little popcorn strings, or we're going to add lights afterwards, so don't worry about the lights. We'll be adding those lights in, but just add this garland around the trees, just letting it flow as it might. And once you're done with this tree, we'll move on to the background tree. Oh no, sorry, just the big tree, and then we'll do the background tree. So again, you can create your garland swoopy-like, or just going it around. Just make sure you go outside of where the green areas are to make it look more 3D. That's just a little tip for you. This gold is really beautiful and will be used in lots of holiday paintings. So if you haven't got gold, you can use maybe like a yellowy color or that luminous yellow color, or you don't have to have it at all either. I just happen to buy gold and I just love it. Okay, so once we're done with the garland, we'll move on to the next step in adding ornaments. So using that same small filbert brush, I'm just going to tap into the scarlet red and just draw in little circles every here and there, wherever I feel necessary or seems fit. And we'll add it to the big trees first, since we added those in first, and hopefully they'll be the most dry at this time. And I know that we blow dried it down, but sometimes it's still just a bit wet underneath and you pick up the paint. So take your time, enjoy the process. This is supposed to be fun and relaxing. If you need to, like I said before, you can easily pause the video and catch up. It's not a big deal. And you can place these ornaments where I am placing them, or place them wherever you'd like them, in any color or shape or form that you like. You do not have to follow me step by step. Next, we're adding light luminous green and lemon yellow to our palette, or light luminous lemon yellow. And we're going to start painting in some ornaments and some lights with these colors. So taking that luminous yellow, the warm luminous yellow, we're going to start painting in some lights. We will go over these lights with that luminous lemon yellow. That's a tongue twister for you. But we're going to start off with this warm yellow and paint in some lights just going around the tree, around the garland areas. Tree, we can move on to the smaller tree. Continuing adding as many lights as you wish to add. And then we'll move on to the tree next to that. And again, these can go straight across. They can go like in a droopy sort of pattern, or they can just be absent altogether. You don't even need to put these on if you don't feel like it. Moving on to the big tree now, we're just adding our lights over here. Just tap, 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 tap. And they don't need to be perfect, so don't worry about that. There's so much going on in these trees that you really won't notice any mistakes. I think it's very hard to make a mistake at this point. Don't forget, we'll be adding more ornaments on top of this too. So there'll be lots going on. And you can go over the ornaments or under the ornaments. It's really up to you. Same with the garland. You can follow the garland if you'd like. You can go on top of the garland, underneath it. It really does not matter. Once you're done, go ahead and rinse out your brush and add some light blue violet to your palette. And using that same small filbert brush, we're just going to add a shadow, a snow shadow to the tops of the stakes of the fence. And we're just keeping to the right side of the fence spokes. This is just creating a more three-dimensional effect. And then we're just going to add some snow to the where the fence spokes would be crossing them, it like the crossboards. We're just going to cover those in snow. And then once you're done with that, we're going to add some of this light blue violet to under the windowsills, on top of the door, and under that window, and under the door, and under the steps as well. We'll go back over the staircase, so don't worry too much about this. Next, we're going to add some light blue violet to underneath the snow on top of the house. Very messily, remember, not very neat, but this is just the shadow of the snow that's sitting on top of the house. Then we're going to take some titanium white and just add it on top of the snow, on top of the stakes. This will be our highlighted snow areas. And to those stakes that are in between each of the fence spokes. I think they're called spokes. Sorry for my terminology, guys. Then we're going to rinse off our brush, grab some raw umber and some Mars Black, and we're going to shadow in the spokes to make them more three-dimensional. So just on the right side of these spokes, we're just going to shadow these in. Very quickly, nothing has to be perfect or neat. Again, this is supposed to be semi-fuzzy, semi-blurry, sort of in the background. Then once you're done with that, you can go ahead and rinse off your brush. Add some of that light permanent green to your paintbrush, and we're just going to add in some ornaments with the light permanent green. I think these colors really go well together, the red, the green, and the gold. And then the luminous yellow too, which will overlap with the luminous lemon yellow, which is basically a cool and a warm yellow shade that we're just blending together to make the best of both worlds. I don't know why they look so good together, but they really do. I don't know if it's that they negate each other or they just come to one nice even shade. I'm not really sure. But so now we're going over each of those little light bulbs using that light lemon luminous yellow color. And it doesn't have to be neat, we're just going over them, plopping some yellow on top of them, and since it's quite transparent, you do not need to be perfect doing this step. I love this whole painting because you can really relax when you're doing it. You don't need to be stiff or uptight. There's no major lines that you need to draw in that need to be perfect. Nothing needs to be perfect. It's just like a nice, relaxing, fun painting to paint. And in the end you have a festive little painting. So this painting makes me happy, and I just thought I'd share it with you guys, and I really hope you enjoy it as well. So now onto the bigger tree, we're doing the same exact thing, going over those light bulbs with that bright lemon luminous yellow. And if you don't have these luminous colors, you can just use lemon yellow too. And you can mix up a little bit of the lemon yellow with orange to get that luminous yellow color, that luminous yellowy orange color, the warm shade. But you don't really need to, you can just use luminous yellow, or lemon yellow, lemon yellow. And once you're done with that, rinse off your brush and add some luminous red to your palette. And if you don't have this, you can just go over the red ornaments with scarlet red again, or bright color red. And make sure your paint is quite dry when you're doing this, or else you'll just pick up the underpainting. And make sure that you do create multiple layers when you're trying to create these bright luminous ornaments, or else they will not show up that well. You will need multiple coats of it, so we will go over the green again, because I believe that's the only ones we haven't really touched up on yet. So once you're done with the red, rinse off your brush. Now we're going to dip into the green and double layer on those green ornaments. This will really make them pop out and stand out, because we all know that acrylics dry darker than when you first apply them. Unfortunately, right? I'm really just plopping them on there. Okay, once you're done with that, go ahead and rinse off your brush and grab your size 6 filbert brush, and we're going to mix up some titanium white with some Mars black, just a hair of Mars black, not that much, and we're just going to add in some shadow layers to the snow, creating a pathway first from the doorway out to us, making sure it gets wider, and then underneath the Christmas trees as well, and the fence too. Making sure everything is sitting in the snow and not on top of it. And then we're going to draw out our pathway. Making sure that it gets wider as it comes towards us and narrower as it goes away from us. And then we're going to fix up our stairs, creating those with the titanium white. We're just going to go over the stairs, creating the highlights and adding a little bit of highlight to the pathway too. Using that titanium white and luminous yellow, we're going to go around the trees as well, adding that highlight or that glow from the lights. And then we're going to add some titanium white to the outside of the pathway, making it look like the path is sunken in, or it's sunken into the snow. And we'll just finish up with some highlights and then some shadows wherever necessary, adding more highlights to the stairs and the pathway a little bit. And then we're going to take some light blue violet and some black, and we're just going to create the darkened areas of the staircase. Then we're just going to add some more highlights to the snow banks where needed. And then we're going to take some luminous yellow and titanium white with our 00 round brush, and we're going to create a little star on top of these two little trees, and that about wraps up our painting. So I'm super excited to have this done. We're just going to add a little bit more white, titanium white to our stars to make them stand out a bit more, but that's about it. And so I hope you really enjoyed this YouTube tutorial. I know I did. I found it super relaxing and just fun to paint, and easy enough for all beginners and intermediates and advanced painters to paint. So please remember to like this video, to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and to keep coming back for more videos. So until next time, I'll see you guys later. Okay, bye!